One day there was a scientist named Dr. Skinner, who 4 years ago invented a painkiller pill and called it Habna, and it can relieve any pains, and because it is cheap and very effective, he managed to capture the market in most of the world quickly, and 3 years ago Dr. Skinner suddenly disappeared. One day a young man named Axel appears imprisoned in jail, and one of the guards comes to tell him he has a visit, so Axel is surprised because almost no one visits him except lawyers, so Axel goes and finds a woman named Hasho he hasn't met before, so he tells her only lawyers or assassins come to me. Who are you? She replies, I came wanting a request from you and depending on your answer I might get you out of prison. So he mocks her words because that's impossible, and tells her how will you get me out? I am practically sentenced to life in prison. So she replies, I know everything about you and your sentence and all the details of your life, and that you surely know Habna. She asks him if he heard about the crime that happened a while ago, but Axel doesn't know what she's talking about. So she tells him that Dr. Skinner appeared in a video after his long disappearance, and she shows him the video and the shock is that Dr. Skinner says everyone will die because of the Habna pill, and that in fact he didn't invent Habna to be a real painkiller, but he invented it to mutate after 3 years in the body and become a cause of death. And it's impossible to leave a person's body no matter what, and he expects the first victim to fall after 30 days, and the video is shown in the city and everyone is surprised and afraid because they take it regularly. At the same time at school a student named Leland asks permission from the teacher to leave because he now sees school as pointless, since all humans will die. Dr. Skinner continues and says, but I have the cure that will save you, and you have a 30-day grace period, and whoever finds me will have managed to save all humanity from death. And the video ends so Hasho tells Axel Skinner was always seeking to save humanity and wanted to be a hero, so he replies and now he returned in the form of a demon. So she tells him my request from you is to find him and save humanity. The visit time ends so Axel stands up and tells her since you know everything about me, then you surely know I have a very bad habit which is escaping from prison, and suddenly Axel attacks the guard and steals his gun, and points the gun at Hasho to threaten the guards to unshackle him and she plays along. And indeed they unshackle her and with his agility and high fitness he runs fast and slips from every prison guard one after another. And suddenly one guard grabs his leg but Axel slips from him skillfully and continues escaping. Then he meets another guard and strangles him, but Axel manages to strike him and slip from his hand, and the inmates watch what he does and ask him to save them with him. Nevertheless he ignores them and continues his way normally. Another guard stands before him so Axel jumps, grabs his head, and slams him to the ground, and climbs the pillars until he reaches the ceiling, and opens the vent with his gun, and manages to get out of prison. So Hasho calls the driver with her to come quickly because Axel escaped, and at the same time asks a girl named Elena to monitor his movements and the police surveillance system. And the driver tells Hasho maybe the police caught him now, so she replies that won't happen because he is a very skilled man, and Elena replies even the police haven't found him yet. On the other side Leland has left school and is walking, and a girl named Chris appears and tells him you look happy that all humanity fell into a crisis, so he replies no that's not it. I just realized it's pointless to go to school anymore, so she hits him on the head because of his way of thinking. The news shows that people are protesting what happened and making great chaos in the city, and destroying pharmacies and drug companies, and the President of the United States appears saying they're trying to manufacture an antidote to Habna to calm citizens a bit, but the anchors and journalists say that cure is impossible to finish within the 30 days. At the same time Axel meets an officer in the street who stops him, surprised by his prison clothes, so he asks him why are you walking in that outfit in the street, and suspects he escaped from prison, so Axel replies and tells him no it's fashion, so the officer jokes with him and they laugh together, then he lets him go and leaves, and suddenly the officer receives news that a prisoner escaped, so he concludes it was the person he stood with and gets very angry. But Axel has entered a clothing store to buy new clothes and then escapes by train and heads to another city. On the other side Hasho is with the head of the organization, and he tells her we can't reach a cure for Habna, and we have nothing but to find Dr. Skinner, and asks her what happened with our last member named Axel. She replies he escaped from us and we're still chasing him. As soon as Axel reaches the train station his picture appears on the screens and he's wanted, and the police recognize him, so they chase him and he tries to escape from them. And at the same time Elena found him and informs the organization that he appeared and pinpointed his location, so the rest of her team begins to move to get Axel, and the team consists of 4 people, Leland the school student, Elena the hacker, Chris, and Douglas the driver, and at the same time Axel is still trying to escape from the police, and suddenly Chris shoots at him with her gun, so he tries to escape from her too, and climbs a very tall building but finds Douglas right behind him threatening him with the gun. So Axel provokes him and tells him you are a coward because you will kill me from behind, so Douglas replies your words won't affect me anyway, because I know you're doing that to provoke me and make me fight you hand to hand. And suddenly Axel jumps from the tall building when he finds himself exposed, and grabs the drone that Leland was flying. Then Chris meets him after she changed her clothes so he doesn't realize she's the one who was shooting at him a while ago, and she tells him I admire you and your moves, and she draws him into conversation and asks to take a photo with him, and suddenly electrocutes him so he loses consciousness. And he wakes up a day later and finds around him Hasho's team. And Hasho speaks to him from a screen so he asks her who exactly are you and what do you want from me? She replies we are the Lazarus organization and we welcome you to the team and we have 29 days left to find Dr. Skinner. We go back in time 3 years when Habna spread excessively, and people used to put it in juice and drink it as a substitute for drugs because it was cheaper and better. We return to the present, and Axel finds a bracelet on his hand and tries to remove it, so Hasho tells him you can't. We put it on your hand so you can communicate with us and we know if you're alive or not and track your location if you think of escaping. Axel looks at the rest of the team and finds the same bracelet on all their hands, and Hasho tells them my only request from you is to find Dr. Skinner before anyone else, if you want to live free the rest of your lives, otherwise I'll send you back to prison. Axel gets annoyed and with his agility grabs the weapon from Chris, and threatens them he'll kill her if they don't remove the bracelet from his hand. Suddenly the bracelet electrocutes him, and Hasho tells him the bracelet will shock you if you try to remove it or do anything, and even if you kill me someone else will continue this mission. Axel gives in to reality and agrees to search with them for Dr. Skinner. At the same time Axel and the rest of the team gather, thinking how they'll search for Dr. Skinner. So Axel tells them I think when we find him we exploit him and make him create the vaccine and sell it at a higher price in other places and gather lots of money. Chris agrees with him but Douglas objects, and tells them we came here to save the world not to gain money for ourselves, the important thing now is to think how we'll find Dr. Skinner. Axel interrupts and asks them the most important thing now is has any of you used Habna before? The surprise is they all raise their hands. Douglas takes them to show them the place that will be their base. And it turns out to be a very old and abandoned place. Douglas tells them everything about Dr. Skinner, that he was very smart, maybe the smartest man after Einstein, and that he won the Nobel Prize 3 times before, but after that he started to enter political work, and was very interested in climate conferences, and in his speech at the United Nations, in the presence of members from all around the world. Dr. Skinner said I expect in 3 years the climate will become difficult, and all the Arctic ice will melt, and this will be just the beginning and the whole planet will be destroyed. The members got upset at his words and stood up and left, and from then on Dr. Skinner disappeared. The team is surprised how he disappeared all that time without appearing and sat in a house for 3 years without leaving and left no trace. While they are discussing Elena says I almost found him, so they move quickly to the place Elena told them about, and on the way Elena tells them I learned that Dr. Skinner bought an underground shelter 8 years ago from a nuclear bomb shelter company, and I found his records. In this case he can stay there for years without leaving. Unfortunately we can't reach this company by phone or by email, and she tells Axel and Chris to go explore the shelter. On the way Chris asks Axel what did you do to get into prison, and how long was your sentence? Axel replies 888 years, so Chris stops the car in shock and thinks he is a dangerous criminal, and throws him out of the car, and thinks he killed many people and that's why he's sentenced to that number. But he explains to her and tells her my original sentence was 3 years but the time doubled every time I tried to escape from prison, and I didn't know that until I found myself sentenced to 888 years. At the same time in the other car Douglas and Leland are talking, and Leland asks him about his past, so Douglas tells him I entered prison because of a simple accident nothing more, and he asks Leland and why did you enter prison? He replies I stole some things, so Douglas tells him then Elena's situation is worse because she is a hacker and caused many crimes. Axel and Chris arrive at the shelter area, and at the same time Douglas and Leland arrive at the shelter company. Chris and Axel enter the shelter and the lights turn on automatically, and they find the place practically abandoned and empty. At the same time Douglas and Leland enter the company headquarters, and Douglas notices that the equipment there was working recently and most of it broken, and Leland walks in the company and suddenly a strange man appears and points a gun at him, so Douglas points his gun at him too, but he threatens Douglas to tell him where the company owner is or he'll kill Leland. Douglas tells him I don't know, we're also searching for him actually. Suddenly a third man enters and also points a gun at them, and threatens them saying where is Kobayashi the company owner because he owes me a lot of debts. Douglas is surprised and tells him Kobayashi who? Aren't you searching for Dr. Skinner? We return to Axel and Chris as they walk in the shelter, and find an unconscious man on a chair, and think he is Dr. Skinner but find him another man. So they guess maybe he had plastic surgery and changed his face. Suddenly a Russian gang attacks them and fires at them from every direction, so Axel attacks them and with his agility and skill in escaping gets rid of them easily one after another, and Chris tries to keep up with him and the police are on their way to the place. Axel and Chris return quickly to the man on the chair, but the police arrive at the place. The man wakes up and when he finds them around him he cries, saying I didn't want to escape and I'll pay all my debts, just don't kill me. Axel hits him and takes a blood sample to check if he is Dr. Skinner or not, and in the end he's not Skinner. We learn he is Kobayashi. At the same time Elena is searching for Skinner by hacking surveillance systems, and finds that 100,000 people appeared with the same face as Skinner, and says clearly someone hacked the surveillance systems and did this with high precision and skill. So Axel asks Elena, could it be Skinner who did this? She tells him no, because only 3 hackers in the world can do that. Dr. 209, Bob Corn, and Screamer, and I am one of them. Hasho asks Elena to search for the other 2 hackers, and asks Chris and Leland to go to Dr. Skinner's house to search for anything that might lead them to his location, and on the way Douglas tells Axel there is a doctor named Claude who used to participate in research projects with Skinner. Maybe if we go to him we can find a lead or he can help us. On the other side Chris and Leland go to Dr. Skinner's house disguised as cleaning company workers, and the police prevent them from entering, so they trick them saying this is a paid booking and if we don't enter we'll put the fine on you, so they allow them to enter. At the same time Douglas and Axel are in the hospital where Claude used to work, and Axel asks Douglas, did you find him? He replies he left work a long time ago and now his place and contact information are unknown, and rumors say he became homeless, so Axel tells him in that case I have someone who can lead us to him. And they go to the homeless area, and Axel says I knew a man in prison named Jill who told me he is responsible for the homeless in this area. At the same time Leland and Chris are searching in Skinner's house and Chris finds a strange pill, so she mocks and tells him maybe this is a cure for Habna, and takes it with her. On the other side Axel and Douglas are searching for the man who will lead them to Dr. Claude, and they ask several homeless people until one tells Axel he is right behind you, so he looks back and finds his friend Jill but looking a bit different, and they sit with him, and Douglas tells him about Dr. Claude. But Jill refuses to speak about someone else or show them, so he tells him I heard he was seen in this area, and tells him that he stood by him in university after a big problem happened to him, and tells him but I couldn't thank him back then and I want to meet him, that's why. So Jill sympathizes with him and shows him his location. Douglas goes to Claude and finds him playing chess with other homeless, and when Claude sees him he is very surprised he is in that place. And Douglas sits with him and asks him if he knows anything about Dr. Skinner, so he tells him I haven't been in contact with him for a long time and never imagined one day I could die because of the Habna pills he invented, so Douglas tells him any information can help us reach him. So Claude replies what I know about him is that when he immerses himself in his research he becomes very cruel, and works day and night without fatigue, so everyone around him was annoyed by him. And I couldn't keep up with him back then or do what he did, so I felt jealous, and decided never to lose to him and achieve more accomplishments than him. And that was the reason I was expelled from the university and reached the bad state you see now. All I remember about Skinner is that he always talked a lot about the beauty of the baklava his grandmother Belinda used to make. Douglas tells him baklava is an eastern sweet made in Istanbul, so surely his grandmother lives there, and Douglas stands and thanks Claude for his help and takes Axel and leaves, and they return to their base and try to search for the exact place of Dr. Skinner's grandmother or any data about her. And Elena tries to guess the area she is in and finds that there is a certain area with no surveillance cameras, and that's the best place to hide someone, so they think at the same time maybe this is a trap, but they have no other solution but to move and go to check for themselves. Axel and Leland arrive in Istanbul, and Leland wears the clothes of the city people so he won't draw attention, but the opposite happens, and suddenly people come to chase them because of their strange and unusual look. So they try to escape from them, and Axel strikes those who block their way, and afterwards they get on a fast bus and manage to escape, and jump across rooftops until they stop chasing them. But one of the roofs breaks and Leland falls into a house, and the gang enters on him, and captures him, and they are about to finish him when Axel returns to attack the gang to save him, and at the last moment Leland tells them we only came here to eat baklava from Belinda, nothing more. They calm down and lead them to her, and Belinda rewards the gang because they brought her customers, and Belinda hosts Axel and Leland, and serves them baklava and they like it very much, and she asks them who are you and where did you come from? Axel replies we are secret agents, so grandmother Belinda is shocked, and he tells her we came to ask about Dr. Skinner. She begins to tell them about him and that she raised him after his father and mother died, so Leland asks her and how was his nature when he was young. She tells him he was a very normal and kind boy, and I don't care about all the crimes he committed, he is still my grandson for me. And the last time he spoke to me was 3 years ago and sent me a video saying he is very busy and that's why he won't be able to visit me. She gives them the phone to watch the video, and they find that Skinner is very kind and doesn't look like someone who will kill a large number of people soon. Axel starts searching in Belinda's house because he feels surely Skinner is monitoring her because he worries about her, and indeed finds a small camera, and speaks into it saying I will catch you soon Skinner. On the other side, Elena finds one of the hackers who made copies of Skinner, and tells them I found Dr. 909, who no one could reach, not even the federal office, so they ask her how did you do it. She tells them I managed to hack his secret wallet and found huge transfers on it. Among the transfers they find a stock trader named Sam, who sold all the shares he owned in Habna before their price dropped, so Chris asks how did he know the stock prices would fall when Dr. Skinner started his plan 3 years ago and erased all traces behind him. Elena replies that's impossible unless he cooperated with a very skilled hacker. Douglas says in short the only possibility is that Dr. 909 cooperated with Skinner to get information about Habna, and the two of them ended up with a fortune. Hasho replies this conclusion is the most logical, and Elena tells them I'll keep monitoring the wallet, and you four will go search for Sam because surely he is still in contact with Dr. 909. They discover that Sam makes a party every weekend in his club, and invites the biggest personalities in the area, so the team goes to that party and Leland disguises himself as a girl so they won't be discovered. Then they enter the club and find that the DJ is a very famous man named Viganari, and at the same time Elena discovers more than one place where deposits were made into Dr. 909's secret wallet. After the team enters the club they start to spread out and see how they will reach Sam. Axel goes to go upstairs but the guard stops him, and tells him this place is for VIP only, and Axel sees that people enter with a certain tattoo drawn on their hands, and Elena is emptying all the surveillance cameras from all the places where deposits were made in the secret wallet, so she can know the person making the deposit, but in every place the one making the deposit was disguised. On the other side Axel sees a man going to the bathroom looking unsteady, so he follows him, knocks him, and steals the tattoo on his hand to enter with it, and Chris learns from the man serving drinks that Sam and Viganari will arrive together on Sam's private jet. And indeed they arrive after a while. At the same time Chris and Leland go up to the place where Sam is to try to meet him and lure him, and Axel and Douglas also manage to get to the upper floor after Axel took the tattoo, but as soon as they go up Sam's guards point guns at them and ask them where did you get the tattoo? At the same time Elena manages to determine the features of the disguised man she was searching for, and it turns out in the end to be Viganari. We return to the party and Sam attacks Chris, but she outpaces him and strikes him and throws him from the upper floor, and he quickly gets up to escape with Viganari, and the rest of the team attack Sam's men and try to get rid of them, and indeed they defeat them. At the same time Sam and Viganari board the jet to escape, and as soon as they take off Axel runs and jumps and grabs it, and the rest of the team move in the car, and Sam tries every while to crash the jet into buildings to drop Axel. After several tries he manages to drop him, but Leland catches him with his small plane, and Axel continues chasing Sam, and finds a weapon on Leland's plane, so he takes it and shoots the jet with the gun and it falls into the water, and Axel lands on the jet before it sinks, and Sam and Viganari try to get out of the water, but Axel threatens them and tells them either take me to Dr. Skinner or I'll let you drown. Viganari replies I don't know anything about him. So Axel asks him then how did you get all this money from Habna? He replies I hacked a pharmaceutical company and learned from it information that Habna's price would fall, and Sam takes the flash drive that has all the company's compromising information from Viganari and gives it to Axel, so Axel leaves them and goes, and the police arrest them afterwards, and the team returns to their base after learning that the hacker 909 had no relation to Skinner, and they decide to go to the pharmaceutical company he got the information from. The team gathers to know the details of the pharmaceutical company that has information about the danger of Habna, and they think the company might be in contact with Skinner, that's why it has this information, and Elena tries to hack the database of the pharmaceutical company, but she only finds audio recordings that can't be understood. So Douglas tells her to try converting them into images, and after she converts them the recordings turn out to be the secret information about Habna. They think the company encrypted it in the form of audio files because they wanted to deliver it to someone else, who might be Skinner, and the team moves to the company headquarters but finds the security level is very high and hard to enter, so Axel moves boldly and enters from the main gate normally. Chris is surprised by what he did, and tells him how will you enter with all this security around? He replies don't worry I'll handle it. And Axel enters with a fake ID, but security suspects him so they follow him and ride the elevator with him, and as soon as the elevator doors close he finds 4 security inside and gets into a fight with them and one of them jumps on his back trying to strangle him but Axel slips from her. She attacks again and the other 3 join in at the same time and still he manages to defeat them and come out safe. Axel enters on the company owner and threatens him, and asks him to disable the security system so the company owner does what he says, and Axel sits in front of him and shows him the secret information he was researching in his company, so he is shocked and asks him where did you get this from and what do you want from me? Axel replies I want to know where Skinner is, so the company owner replies and I want to know his location more than you. The rest of the team enters in a group video call with the company owner and Douglas asks him did you know these pills are poisonous? He replies of course not but I have proof they are deadly. because before the secret experiments on humans we did experiments on monkeys, and the first one of them died a few days ago, and the turn is coming on humans. Axel asks him, and your company doesn't have a cure for this drug? He replies, we are investing all our resources into this matter, but even the research team is very discouraged, and Axel and the rest of the team suggest to the company owner that he announces he found a cure for Habna and makes a big fake conference to reveal it, and in this way they might be able to lure Skinner, and they tell him they will secure the place of the conference well, so if Skinner comes they can catch him. And at the same time Elena is securing the company's site, so if one of the hackers enters and tries to hack it he finds no secret information. The conference begins and the company owner speaks about how they found an antidote for Habna, and one of the research team explains to them how they managed to reach that, and at the moment they are speaking the power is cut in the conference because of a hacking attack, and Elena finds the hack is coming from inside the company building, not from outside, and the rest of the team searches inside the company to know who the intruder is. At the same time everything in the company stops and the systems crash, and Elena discovers the company was hacked from many devices, and those devices are the walkie-talkies of the guards, so Axel goes to check this matter, and the guard tells him these devices are new and even the company that made them replaced the old ones today. So the rest of the team tries to stop the chaos happening in the company, but still the hack continues and Elena can't stop it, but she finds the hacker's location, and Hasho sends the police to arrest him, but the hacker leaves before anyone can detect his presence, and he is moving in a car, that's why there's no fixed location to catch him from, and after he manages to hack the company's site he finds nothing on it because of the fake data Elena placed, and the hack ends after all that and they gain nothing in the end because the conference failed, and so 21 days pass from the 30 days. The team gathers again in their headquarters, and Douglas has with him a magazine that shows published photos of Skinner when he was young with senior researchers, and it is written that he had many achievements from when he was small, and among them a researcher who was from a city isolated from the outside world, ruled by artificial intelligence because for them it is stronger and smarter than them and they follow its orders. And one day Skinner visited that city and liked it, and the people in it lived self-sufficient, believing this is the ideal place, and Douglas guesses maybe Skinner is hiding there because it is a very suitable isolated city. Hasho asks Elena if she can hack any system related to that city, but she replies it's hard to hack because Naga is completely isolated from the outside world, so Chris is surprised and asks Elena, how did you know its name and this information? She replies sadly because that was the place where I was born, and tells them if I go there now they will welcome me greatly, so they reply surprised alone. Impossible. She tells them you can't come with me because they will suspect you and prevent you from entering, but maybe if a child enters with me, so they all look at Leland because he looks young. After that the team moves to the city to get Leland and Elena there, and they tell Elena and Leland will stay in a hotel close to you. If Dr. Skinner appears or anything happens call us immediately, and if you don't contact us within 72 hours we'll come, and Axel gives them a smoke bomb to open if they can't contact them. After that they enter the city and the people look at them strangely at first until a girl named Hannah sees them, and runs to Elena to welcome her, so Elena introduces her to Leland, and then Hannah takes them to a place to sleep. There Elena sees a woman named Carla and gets very upset, but still greets her, and Carla tells her I was sure you would know the corruption of the outside world and come back again, and a man appears and welcomes Elena and Leland, who is Billy the leader here, and Carla is happy and tells Elena good you came to celebrate with us in the festival, but Elena is upset and doesn't reply. When they enter Hannah asks them to hand over their phones and anything connected to the internet, because they protect citizens from the outside world and the false information spreading in it, and before she leaves she tells them I hope the brainwashing of the outside world is removed from you quickly, so Leland is surprised by the word brainwashing she said. At night Leland wakes up and takes his bracelet and tries to call the rest of the team to reassure them, and Elena comes out after him and he tells her there's no signal as expected, surely they jam it. On the other side Douglas is speaking with Hasho in a call, and asks her for a list of names of the researchers who were with Dr. Skinner in the institute, and Douglas goes out and finds Chris worried about Leland and Elena and waiting for any call or signal from them, so he tells her we must trust them and not treat them as children, they are members of Lazarus like us. At the same time Leland and Elena are sitting talking, so he asks her Carla is your mother right, and tells her I noticed you are not close and I was surprised. So she replies the whole city here is one big family, and that's why we don't consider blood ties and it's forbidden for me to call her mother, so he asks her and what does your mother feel about this? She replies sadly she doesn't care. The next day Hannah comes and takes her and Leland in a tour in the city, and explains to them how they live self-sufficient without needing the outside world, all thanks to their artificial intelligence that provides them with everything, and shows them the blacksmiths and farmers in the village while working, and tells them here we don't use money like you, we trade items, and they go to eat with the whole family, and Hannah asks them what were you doing in the outside world? Leland replies, we worked to get money, and our work was about searching for certain people, and I met Elena there, and he tells her about the adventures he went through until now in the job. After that the leader Billy comes and announces Leland a member of their family, and tells them we will honor him and celebrate him in the festival after 2 days. On the other side Douglas and Chris are sitting, and he tells her I reached information about the artificial intelligence ruling this city. 15 years ago the researchers in the institute developed this artificial intelligence to be like the neural network in the human body, and they tried to take a copy from his brain to make from it a model of the most intelligent person in Einstein's days. Dr. Skinner, after that they made the artificial intelligence but found it had a desire for control, and named it Naga. Later Elena and Leland meet alone and he tells her I searched for Dr. Skinner everywhere and didn't find him, so they agree to meet at night to go to the place where all the information about this city is stored and take it, and at the same time Hannah is hiding and eavesdropping on them while they agree. They arrive at night to the place with the city's data, cut the electricity so the lights go out, manage to pass the guards and enter the place and transfer the information. Suddenly the leader Billy enters, and tells Elena I felt your heart is still polluted with the outside world, and I knew you would do this. So Leland pulls her and tries to escape but they surround them and capture them, and tell them your punishment will be burning so you are an example to anyone who thinks to do this. On the other side Douglas is with Chris, and tells her I knew one of the researchers who was with Skinner in the institute. His name is Billy, so she asks him where is he now. He replies the leader of Naga City. From the institute days he was obsessed with the subject of artificial intelligence and he freed it and made it ruler. And I suspect he did that to increase Naga's desire for control and then control the world. So she asks him isn't Naga just a copy of Skinner? He replies yes and Axel asks him doesn't that mean it has a desire to destroy the world like Skinner? They are surprised by the idea. At the same time Leland and Elena are in prison, and Hannah enters to see them, and tells them we will see you in the festival being burned and purified from the pollution of the outside world. So Leland asks her in fear they will burn us alive? She replies yes and Elena asks her and you agree with this? She replies I always felt jealous of you and lived my life suppressing my feelings, and I chose to follow Naga and never thought of myself. But you were different. Suddenly she throws water in her face angrily, and tells her you were the only one who managed to escape this oppression and became free when I also wanted that. So Elena is sad for her and tells her come let's leave here together. She replies impossible. I don't know anything but this place and can't adapt to the outside world. So Elena tells her and that's the same I felt long ago when I thought of escaping from here, and I saw people here strange because they deny the outside world like this. So I decided to be brave and leave here and took the step. Hannah replies angrily shut up you are wrong. And before she leaves Leland stops her and tells her in my bag is a smoke bomb. If you have enough courage to take the step use it, and she leaves them. The next day comes, and the guards hang Elena and Leland to execute them by burning, and all the city gathers in front of them, and they are lowered slowly towards the fire. Before they reach it Hannah appears with the bomb in her hand, runs towards them and opens the smoke bomb. So Axel sees her and tells the rest of the team and they rush quickly to save them. Before they arrive Billy and the rest of the city people enter to Naga and close the door so no one can stop them, and Billy presses a button that ignites the whole place, and tells the people we must sacrifice ourselves for our ruler. Suddenly the building collapses on Billy and he dies. At the same time the police arrive and storm the place and rescue the people still alive, and Leland approaches Hannah and thanks her for saving them before they were burned. The team returns to the headquarters with a device containing the city's information, and they try to extract it. And so 17 days remain from the 30-day deadline. The next day the team is at the headquarters waiting for the device to finish loading the data, and in that time they are grilling their lunch, and Leland jokes with Chris asking her about her age, but she refuses to tell him, and while they are talking Axel comes with a fire gun and sets all the food on fire and burns it. And after the food is ruined they go to watch the latest news, and Leland is watching Skinner's video, where he says that in 3 years the Arctic ice will all melt, and exactly 3 years have passed since that video and it really melted. So Douglas says as long as his words were true then that means only 15 days remain until the first victim falls, and they are surprised how Skinner could predict these things, and Hasho enters while they are talking and gathers them and tells them apparently we will start from zero, because until now we haven't learned anything. And Douglas agrees with her words. Douglas brings the video of Skinner's confessions and they watch it again, and at the same time the device with the city's data finishes loading, and they find a message which turns out to be a code, and they try to break it each one in a different way, but in the end Douglas breaks it with a military system, and the code is locations of 4 sunken islands in different places in the world, and Skinner bought those islands before they sank. On the other side the head of the Lazarus organization moves to meet Hasho in a museum, and he goes to her and talks with her about matters that concerned her in the past. He tells her he wants to apologize to her for what they are doing to her, because he knows Skinner was a close friend to her before, she replies to him that she made the decision to be with him in the organization. On the other side the team moves, and each one of them goes to a different island while Elena stays following them from the team's headquarters. And each member of the team reaches the island he went to, and they inform each other they arrived. They each start the search operation under the water for anything that may lead them to Skinner, and Axel comes out of the water and talks with the man who brought him by boat and tells him you are wounded in your face, and the man doesn't feel it, so Axel asks him have you taken Havna before? The man tells him I don't need to take it, I never felt any pain from the moment I was born so I never needed a painkiller, and he tells him that Skinner came and bought this island from them, saving them from poverty and letting them start a new life. And Elena gets the data of these islands from when Skinner visited them 15 years ago, and it seems he visited the 4 islands in the same period and bought them. Douglas asks her what place did Skinner study his research in, so Elena tells him she will try to get him the place and the list of researchers who worked with him, and she manages to get them and suddenly while searching through them she finds that among the researchers who worked with him was Hasho. On the other side Chris finishes her search trip and is returning to the team's headquarters, and suddenly she meets a girl who stops her. The team returns to their headquarters after finishing the search trip, and they are surprised that Chris is not there and still hasn't come back, but at the same time they confront Hasho that they found out she was part of the Havna research team with Dr. Skinner, and she admits after they confront her and tells them I really was part of the research team. But before we finished the Havna painkiller Skinner suddenly disappeared without any reason and didn't inform anyone he was going to do that, and this made me scared and leave the research center. The next day Chris wakes up and finds herself tied to a chair and kidnapped by a group belonging to Russian intelligence, and at the same time Hasho tells the team about the real-life details of Chris, that she was a member of Russian intelligence and her real name wasn't Chris at all, and that she changed her name and appearance to escape them after she caused a train accident, and used that to forge the news of her death and escape. And Hasho tells them the bracelet on their arms is designed to stop blood flow automatically if any of them didn't contact her within 3 days, and that means if Chris doesn't come back within 3 days the bracelet will stop blood flow and she will die. The team decides they will move to save Chris, but Hasho is a bit opposed to this decision, and we return to Chris who is still tied to the chair, and a man from the Russian gang enters and keeps hitting her. But at the same time a woman enters and stops him, and she turns out to be the same girl who stopped her when she was returning from her trip and kidnapped her. And we find out she was her friend back when Chris was working for Russian intelligence, and she threatens her that she will kill her because she forged her death and changed her appearance and escaped. And on the other side the team is at their headquarters and sees Chris's location and it turns out she is kidnapped in an oil platform belonging to Russian intelligence near the Arctic. The team decides they must move quickly, because only 2 days remain and then the bracelet will stop blood flow, and Hasho interrupts them and tells them to be careful because it's possible Chris will betray them, and on the other side the man in the Russian gang suggests they hand Chris to the Russian government. But the gang leader refuses so he continues beating Chris. And at the same time the team moves and arrives at the airport. But unfortunately they don't find any flights because all were cancelled due to bad weather, and even the land roads are closed. At the same time Hasho calls them and tells them to stay where they are. I contacted the American army and they will send you a private plane to take you, and I also contacted the Norwegian government to allow you to use a base to monitor the Russian oil station, and Hasho tells them this mission is outside the official protocol, and any mistake could cause big wars between countries. And the team reaches the Norwegian base, and they start to think about how they will attack this gang. On the other side the man in the Russian gang continues beating Chris, and at the same time Elena tells the team that to hack the Russian gang's headquarters someone has to enter and connect her to the control room, so the team moves toward the oil station, and Leland uses a bird-shaped drone to watch the gang without them noticing, and sees how many they are, and Axel tries to enter their base through the sea. The team begins to attack the oil station, and Douglas crashes the ship he's on into their station, causing a fire in part of it, and Douglas moves with a small boat leaving the ship, and the Russian gang prepares to attack them, while Axel has already entered their base and managed to reach the control room and connects Elena with it. At that time Chris attacks the man from the Russian gang and manages to free herself from the chair and hits him hard and escapes from him, and on the other side Elena monitors the whole station after she hacked their system, and informs Axel of Chris's location after she escaped from the man. So Axel moves to that place and meets 2 guards but fights them and defeats them, and Douglas supports him from the boat with his sniper, and he continues his way but suddenly someone hits him and knocks him down, and it's the man from the Russian gang, and he points a gun at Axel and asks him who are you? And at the same time another guard comes from behind, and Axel is trapped but Leland drives his drone into the guard's head and knocks him down, and Axel attacks the Russian man. And at the same time one of the guards notices the boat where Leland is hiding and shoots it with his rifle so it burns but Douglas rescues him. Axel finds Chris and she is unable to stand on her feet, and she tells him, "Why did you come for me? I don't deserve all this." So Axel replies he doesn't care about her past, what matters is who she is now, and he asks her to stay in place until he finishes the rest of the gang's guards, and he goes to take them out. But at that time the gang leader arrives, who turns out to be her close friend back when Chris was in intelligence, and she tells her she will kill her because she is a traitor and must die. But then she remembers their memories together in the past, and that they agreed to escape together, but Chris feared for her and escaped alone, because she was worried she would get hurt if they escaped together. And she can't kill Chris, but at that moment the Russian man enters and kills Chris's friend after he heard their conversation, and he tells her, "You two are a traitor and must die." And at that time the whole base is burning and about to explode, so Axel takes Chris and runs quickly and jumps into the sea, and he can't get out of the water because of the remains of the building falling into the sea, but he manages to get out, and Douglas and Leland are waiting for them with the boat and they manage to save Chris. A new day begins and we find Abel's secretary entering his office, telling him it's time for the court session, and asking if he is nervous, but he replies no, not nervous, and at the same time Chris wakes up after the hard day she went through, and she has some bruises on her body and thanks Elena for caring about her, and asks where Axel is, and she tells her he went out to buy some things. After Axel buys the things he goes to Douglas's car, and Douglas talks with Axel and asks him, "Do you think after we find Skinner the Lazarus organization will leave us alone and free us? Especially after they learned all these secrets, or what will happen to us?" And on the other side the trial has begun, which is because the Lazarus team did things outside the scope of searching for Skinner and unrelated to him, and what is meant is the operation to save Chris that put the team in danger, and could have caused wars between countries as well because of the shooting and the explosion of the oil station. And all this had nothing to do with their official mission, which is searching for Skinner, and besides they still haven't reached anything and only 10 days remain from the deadline, and there is an American intelligence agent objecting to what the Lazarus team did, and he asks to see real proof that this team is really searching for Skinner, and says he arranged with someone from the Lazarus team to come and testify about all this, and that means there is a spy among them. And on the other side Douglas is talking with Axel and tells him he feels there is a spy among them and suspects it is Leland because he has 2 phones, but he is not yet sure of this information, and when the judge orders the witness to enter, we find the witness is Leland just as Douglas suspected, and the judge asks him if their last mission to save Chris was an official mission or related to searching for Dr. Skinner, but he replies no, the operation was carried out to save Chris only, and it was important because Chris contributed to searching for Skinner, and had a big role with us since the first search operation, and it had to be done. In the middle of the trial one of the guards enters to interrupt them and tells them that Skinner released a new video, and they bring the video to show it, and in it Skinner says he feels ashamed that 20 days have passed and no one has managed to reach his location, and the countries are busy fighting each other and no one cares to save humanity, and not even the government's move to start searching for me. And Skinner reminds them that only 10 days remain before the first victim falls, and they are shocked that the first victim is Skinner himself, and if he dies there will be no hope they can learn the cure and all humanity will die after him, and all the people are standing watching on the display screens in the streets, and the video ends and Abel gets up and tells the judge we are one step away from finding Skinner. And if the team is disbanded now who will be able to continue what we are doing, and the important thing now is that we must continue what we started, so the judge orders the trial to be postponed until the 10 days finish. After they leave the trial Abel tells Hasho that he was the one who arranged with Leland for all this, and at the same time the American intelligence man is looking for a way to get rid of Axel, so he looks for a professional assassin to finish him off easily, and he calls him and agrees with him on a time to meet. And at the same time the team gathers and talks about Skinner's latest video, and Douglas says he can't believe the first one to die will be Skinner, and Elena says this means he didn't take the protective cure from Havna, and Chris tells them there is no more time to waste, and then she takes out the pill she had found in Dr. Skinner's house, and Douglas asks her why didn't you say back then, and she tells him she forgot, and Douglas says he will check what this belongs to. On the other side the American intelligence man meets the agent of the professional assassin, to agree with him on everything, and he asks him for information about the man he wants to kill, so he asks him about his identity, but he replies I cannot reveal his identity, and he says he takes 30 million for the mission, so the American intelligence man objects to the price and that he will not pay such an amount to someone he doesn't know, so the assassin's agent replies you can test him, but I have nothing to do with any results of this test, and gives him a card with the location of the test written on it, and a special forces squad moves to the place, and after they arrive they find it is an abandoned old place with no lights, and they enter and go up to the upper floors and enter a room they suspect the professional assassin is in, but suddenly one of them is pulled up and the others go to see what happened. But the assassin enters on them and finishes them one after the other, and none of them can resist him and he kills them all until the whole place becomes nothing but corpses. The next day the news broadcast appears and the announcer says the number of people infected with the fever has greatly increased, and all the hospitals are full of patients, and anyone infected with the fever should be treated at home instead, and the announcer continues that stock prices in the stock market are dropping, the market is closed, all the banks are closed and transactions are stopped, and no one knows when this will end and maybe this will be the last day for anyone in life. And the team has analyzed the pill Chris found in Skinner's house and it turns out this pill is a blood thinner used by patients with artificial hearts, so Hasho says I remember Skinner had heart problems, but I don't recall he ever spoke before about having an artificial heart. And Elena brings them all the hospitals that did artificial heart transplants in the last 3 years, but none of the reports belong to Skinner, so Hasho says maybe he did the surgery in one of the hospitals that serve only important people, and these hospitals guarantee you privacy in return for the fees you pay. So they suggest they search in those hospitals but Hasho tells them ordinary people are not allowed to enter there. And suddenly Leland gets up while they are talking and changes his clothes and wears something else, and it shows he looks like the important people and tells them he almost has a solution to this, and asks Axel and Douglas to go with him. So they take him to a very big mansion and are surprised he used to live there, and his grandfather welcomes him happily for returning and lets him into the mansion. And it shows that Leland is from a very rich family. And Leland waits for his sister to come and when she enters he gets up to welcome her but she starts shouting at him and he tells her he came because he needs a favor from her so she shouts again because he hasn't come for 4 years and now came only to ask for a favor, and she mocks him and says what are you here to be saved from this time, theft or fraud? And she humiliates him that their father did everything so he wouldn't end up a failure but he couldn't achieve any of that. And she talks to herself bitterly why is the last man in our family Leland, and why must the one who takes leadership be a man and not a woman? These traditions should have changed. So Leland interrupts her and says if you had gotten married this could have been solved, but he doesn't get to finish his words and she gets very angry at him and starts hitting him aggressively, and tells him they all wanted to marry me only for the inheritance and no one loved me, you don't know anything to speak to me. And she tells him you take your position as the leader of our family and then you won't need me anymore, and you will know all the information you might need. And she tells him if you don't want the inheritance then don't come here again and leaves him and goes. And his grandfather comes to him and tells him despite all the words she said to you she was the one waiting most for you to return and was very happy for your return. And his sister comes back again after leaving and tells him she will give him the information he wants but on condition that he spends the weekend vacation with her, so Leland promises her he will spend it with her on Sunday. So she gets upset because she heard in the news that maybe everyone will die before next Sunday if they don't find Skinner. So Leland tells her I want this information from you so we can find Skinner and save everyone and live, and the information he wants to know is the medical association responsible for his family. And at the same time Abel is with Hasho and shows her a video where Skinner appeared a long time ago when he invented Habna, and he had been arrested during that period. And we return to Leland and the rest of the team entering to the doctor who was responsible for his family, and Leland asks her if Skinner had an artificial heart transplant and begs her to tell him because this is their last chance. So she really admits that he did this surgery and that the artificial heart has a tracking device inside, but Skinner changed the connection code and they don't know his location now. And the doctor gives Leland a flash drive that might have useful information for them, and the team returns to their base after taking the information they wanted, and before they enter Leland stops and tells them he wants to confess something, so Axel tells him you mean that you are the spy, so Leland is surprised they already knew and breaks down crying. So Axel tries to comfort him and tells him we all have secrets and you don't have to tell if you don't want. And they enter the base, and Elena finds that Skinner's heart is still active, but she tells them it's hard to know his location, but she knows someone who can reach it. And at the same time Abel is talking with Hasho and tells her there were experiments done on people who were in prison and sentenced to life or death and this means Axel was one of them, and Elena can discover the location of the person who will bring them Skinner, and he is in Pakistan. So Douglas suggests they inform the police but Elena asks to go there herself, but Douglas is worried for her and agrees only on condition he goes with her. And on the other side Hasho tells Axel that experiments were done on him in prison before he escaped and all those who had the experiments died except him, so he is surprised he didn't die yet, and Hasho asks him to bring her the doctor who gave the prisoners the drug and did the experiments on them. So Axel moves to bring the doctor Hasho told him about. And on the way Hasho calls him and tells him when you were in prison they did some experiments on you and made you take a drug, which was an early trial of Habna, and everyone who took that drug died, but you surely don't know that because you escaped right after that trial. And she tells him you are the only one who didn't die among those who took the drug, and the only person involved in this matter is the doctor who was in prison and gave you the drug, and she asks him do you remember or not. so he replies of course I remember, and she asks him to go see if he is still alive or not, and Axel is surprised he is the only one who didn't die. And on the other side Elena and Douglas are on the plane on their way to Pakistan to search for Bob, and Elena looks at the bracelet on her hand after it makes a sound, and she finds its temperature is very high, so Douglas asks her is there something? She replies no, all good. And they arrive at the airport and move by car to see where Bob is, and Elena tells Douglas she is still in the same place not moving, but she could move anytime, and Douglas notices Elena's face is red, so he asks her do you have a fever or anything like that? Maybe it's Havna symptoms, so Elena looks at the bracelet and finds its temperature is high too, but she replies no, nothing, I'm fine. And Elena finds Bob started moving from her place and tells Douglas, so he replies we will chase her wherever she goes. At the same time in the team base Hasho receives a call, that a plane from the American Intelligence Department is going to Pakistan, so Leland is shocked and tells her does that mean they are monitoring Douglas and Elena, so Hasho replies probably yes and I will go to them myself to find a solution for this problem. So Chris is surprised and tells her you will go yourself to the army, and Hasho gives Leland a paper and asks him to give it to Abel when he comes. And on the other side the hired assassin is searching for Axel among the cars, and once he sees the car Axel is in he runs and jumps on it, and points the gun at him and shoots many bullets, but the glass is not affected by these bullets, so Axel moves the car and hits him and he gets up again and Axel gets out of the car to escape him, but the hired assassin stands in front of him so Axel jumps towards the road. And the assassin throws a grenade at him exploding the cars moving on the road, but he escapes and the assassin goes after him and points the gun at him but Axel jumps from above the building. And on the other side Hasho has gone to the American Intelligence Headquarters to see the matter of the plane that went to monitor Douglas and Elena, and we return to Axel and find he landed on a moving car on the road and holds onto it, and finds the assassin jumped after him on another car and a clash happens between them, and Axel jumps and holds onto the car and the assassin throws a grenade at him but Axel escapes it. And Axel and the assassin stand face to face and Axel provokes him and tells him to kill him quickly before I escape again, and the assassin tries to kill him but Axel dodges the strike and jumps from above the building. At the same time Hasho meets Schneider and asks him to order his men to stop monitoring Douglas and Elena, or she will leak the information she knows about him. So he asks her what information do you know about us, so she replies the experiments you were doing on the prisoners including Axel, and in the end they all died because of you. So he tells her I am surprised the National Security Agency believes this false information, and Schneider decides to imprison her and frame her with treason. So she tells him finally you showed your true face. And at the same time Abel went to Leland and takes from him the paper Hasho left and tells them since Hasho is not answering me that means maybe they detained her after the negotiations failed, and suddenly he receives a report that many explosions happened in the city and the ones behind them are Axel and the hired assassin. So they look at the screen and find Axel fighting and Leland asks who is he fighting. So the president replies that must be an assassin sent by the American army and his title is the Ghost Assassin, and I heard rumors about him that he is a legendary assassin and no one saw him and he kept alive. So Chris goes to bring her rifle, and asks the president for permission to use it, so he gives her permission to use whatever she wants, so Leland tells them I also want to fight, so Chris replies no you stay here and protect the place, because everyone will gather here in the end, and the president tells them I will go save Hasho, and Chris speeds off on the bike to save Axel. And on the other side Douglas and Elena are on their way to Bob and suddenly notice a strange car chasing them, so Douglas tells her I will stall them and you continue searching for Bob and you are the only one now who can bring Skinner's location, and he says he will pretend to surrender to gain some time, and gets out of the car raising his hands, and the car chasing them stops and two men come out. One points at Douglas and the other goes to search the car but finds nothing, and suddenly, they hit Douglas and one of them notices Elena riding her bike and trying to escape, so they get back in their car and Douglas jumps on it but can't stop them, so he lands on the ground and shoots the tires of the car and explodes it. At the same time Axel continues escaping from the ghost assassin and holds on to a train moving fast, but still the assassin reaches him and before he shoots him he finds Axel smiling, so he asks him surprised aren't you afraid of death, so Axel replies no because I have felt that feeling many times before, so the assassin throws a grenade at him and Axel kicks it back up again, and from the effect of the explosion he lets go of the train and falls. And on the other side Elena reaches the place of the signal, and strangely she finds a dead-end wall. So she gets off the bike and finds a narrow passage to pass through, and is surprised the signal is in front of her and nothing there, and suddenly a very flashy car passes in front of her so she assumes it belongs to Bob Corn. So she runs after it and tries to catch it and luckily Bob Corn stops to see who is chasing her, and when she sees Elena she is surprised, and Elena loses consciousness from exhaustion. And at the same time Axel has landed on a ship moving in the water, and strangely the ghost assassin landed on the same ship, so Axel tells him looks like this won't end unless one of us dies, and Axel runs at him and they enter a very fast clash, and Axel manages to knock him to the ground and steps on his hand, and punches him several quick punches, until the ghost assassin sees Axel's necklace and remembers something important, and feels pain in his head and asks him, is this necklace the wings of Hinden? But Axel doesn't understand his question, and suddenly they reach a pier in the water, so Axel jumps from the ship and runs. And the ghost assassin stands remembering his childhood memories, and Chris arrives, and before she saves the sight, Axel throws a knife at the assassin and hits his leg, and the assassin throws his spear and pierces Axel's body so he loses consciousness from the blood he shed, and the ghost assassin gets up and tells Axel, tell me please, after the holes were carved into Hinden's face, what happened next? And Chris enters with her gun and shoots the ghost assassin, but he jumps into the water to escape, and she finds Axel injured and unconscious, so she is shocked. And Chris takes him quickly to Leland's doctor, and the doctor tells her his condition is very critical. And on the other side, Elena wakes up after she fainted because of the fever, and Bob Korn is happy she came all this way just to see her, and Bob Korn tells her her real name, which is Lynn, and this is the first time she admits her real name to someone. So Elena also tells her her real name, and suddenly Elena remembers Douglas, so she looks at the bracelet to check he is still alive. And on the other side, Douglas wakes up and finds himself in a hospital, and hears someone coming, so he pretends to be unconscious, and at the same time the president is riding with Liz, who is a member of their organization and responsible for the investigation, and he asks her to investigate the ghost assassin known as Sorium, maybe he is behind useful information. At the same time, Axel wakes up and asks Chris, were you the one who saved me? Chris is surprised he doesn't remember and tells him yes, so he tells her, I faced death many times but this is the first time someone saved me. Then he asks her where is the ghost assassin, so she tells him he escaped after being seriously injured, and the doctor enters and tells Axel, Leland asked me to make sure no one knows you are here. And Axel remembers the doctor he was going to bring and gets very upset, so Chris tells him don't pressure yourself because it's too late. Abel enters to the American president in the house, and asks her how are you now? She tells him although I took Habna I feel fine, so he tells her I know I came at a bad time but I have a request. She replies she expected that, so he tells her actually I have two requests not one, I want to break into the Army Intelligence Department. So she is shocked and tells him I never heard before of a security agency attacking the army. He replies I know this is impossible normally but there is only one thing that makes us do that, so she understands he wants it to be an order from the president to be possible, and he tells her I know this matter is extreme but there is no other way to deal with this crisis, so she agrees and tells him maybe this will be the last thing I do in my life, and she takes off her glasses so the organization president is surprised by the color of her eyes, and she tells him before Habna was released to the market I tried a pill when it was still in the trial stage, so the organization president promises her he will catch Skinner no matter what, and she asks him what is the other thing you wanted. And on the other side Leland is in the headquarters and Liz enters with Fujinari and tells him I got him out of prison to help us, and Fujinari starts searching for any information about the ghost assassin through hacking, but he doesn't find anything about him at all, and only finds clips of his agent named HQ. So Leland tells them maybe there is no person called Soryu at all. So Liz understands what he means and tells Fujinari start searching for his agent HQ. At the same time Elena is sitting in the car with Lin, and each one talks about the hacking operations they did. Then Lin asks Elena if the fever went down or not, so Elena replies maybe the temperature dropped. So Lin tells her good, that means this is not Habna symptoms and it looks like you won't die affected by Habna. So Elena tells her I have a question. Why do you help Dr. Skinner although you know he wants to destroy the world? So Lin replies I was born on a poor island, and the people there suffered from a disease that made them not feel any pain, so Dr. Skinner came to do research on us about this matter, and the island we lived on was about to sink, so he bought the island and gave us money that made us live safely in another place. And for that since then I decided I could do anything for that man even if I die. And still I don't know what he is thinking now, but I don't think he is an evil person. And on the other side Chris talks with Axel, and he asks her about Hinden, so she tells him no I never heard about something like that before, and searches the matter on the internet, and finds written that Hinden died shocked with his eyes and nose pierced, so he tells her the assassin told me he will show me what Hinden became. Then she tells him at least if you were going to die give us your contact information so you don't cause trouble for the people who love you, so he tells her I don't have anyone important who needs to know if I die, so she is surprised and tells him you don't have any relatives? He replies no I don't have anyone, and he asks her and you too are like me right? So she stays silent and he tells her when I was young I had friends, and they were a family to me, we even made a gang to survive together, but they all died, and I don't remember having family or siblings, and since then I decided not to make friends again and it didn't matter to me where I go, but honestly this place is not bad, and he suddenly falls asleep. And at the same time Schneider is with a colonel in the American army, and he scolds him for hiring a weak assassin who couldn't kill Axel, and also for imprisoning Hasho when she found out he sent forces to Pakistan after Elena and Douglas, and he asks him how will you handle this situation, so Schneider replies I learned their goal is not just to capture Skinner, I discovered they are trying to uncover our secret information, and now we are in a war. And Schneider calls the ghost assassin, and the colonel tells him are you aware of what you did? We hired you to kill him quietly without anyone knowing. So he replies angrily shut up, this is no longer about your request, I will kill him no matter what. So the colonel tells him wait what do you think we are? So he replies you want to finish what remains of the prison right? And suddenly he feels pain and ends the call. So the colonel tells Schneider he went crazy and we don't know when he will leak information. And you are the reason for this and that's why I will fire you now. And at the same time Elena managed to convince Lynn to help her. So she opens her computer and tells Elena after Dr. Skinner did the artificial heart surgery he gave me his location. And I think there is no problem now that I say it since he himself said look for me. And indeed she finds him and Elena is shocked he is in the city of Babylonia and close to their headquarters. And on the other side Liz calls Chris, and asks her did you see the face of the assassin who fought Axel? So she replies yes. So she asks her to come so she can see the pictures they got and tell them which one is him. And at the same time Schneider killed the colonel, and the soldiers quickly enter to see what happened. So he tells them the colonel was planning betrayal and I was about to be killed. And on the other side Chris arrives at the headquarters, and is surprised that Fujinari is there. So Liz tells her I will explain later, and they show her a picture and ask her is this the assassin? And she replies yes. So Liz tells them as I expected. HQ doesn't exist at all, because he himself is Schneider and apparently he has split personality. So Chris tells them I don't know if this is related or not. But Axel said this assassin talked about Hinden, so Liz is shocked and asks this person is from the Hinden project. And at the same time some assassins arrive at the hospital where Douglas is, but they shoot at the bed that is supposed to have him but they don't find him. So they start searching and Douglas is hiding waiting for a chance to attack them, and before they reach the place where he is hiding, Lynn and Elena hacked the hospital system and turned on the alarms and sprinklers. And Lynn controls the chair Douglas is standing on and takes him outside the hospital as if he is in a car, and they arrive outside with Lynn's truck and take him. And on the other side Abel carries out his deal with the president, and enters with the national security forces to search the intelligence department in the army. So Schneider meets him and asks mockingly you came to fight the army? So Abel asks him about the colonel and tells him you will free Hasho too. So he asks sarcastically you came to make war with us for that? Is she that important? So Abel replies angrily if you don't hand her over I will take her myself. So Schneider laughs and asks him then what do we get in return? So Abel replies stop being stupid you won't get anything. And on the other side Elena tells Chris and Leland that Skinner is very close to their headquarters, so she tells her but the area is very big and we won't have time to search it all. So Douglas asks her about Axel so he can make Gil help them. So she tells him we can't let Axel move right now. So he tells her fine then we will go talk to Gil ourselves. And he goes with Elena and Lynn to the station to take the train and return to their city, but Lynn says goodbye to Elena and tells her I can't come with you, but gives her a phone that only connects to her. And before she leaves she hugs her and tells her you will remain my rival and my best friend forever. And at the same time Abel tells Schneider you intelligence division broke the laws and developed biological weapons in secret, and took Skinner's research and turned it into deadly poison, and when he tried to leak your plan you attacked him, and in your clash with the police officers who knew what happened, the biological weapon spread in the air and many people got infected by it. And back then you made the excuse that it was a terrorist attack, and Abel comes closer and arrests Schneider. So Schneider objects and tells him all countries manufacture biological weapons, and our country became very behind compared to them. Who will pay the price for that weakness in your opinion? So Abel replies that's not something you decide. So Schneider tells him imagine if one of those other countries used their biological weapon on us. Then either we respond back and people thank us or we can't respond and we all die. But Abel tells him to save that talk for the trial. So Schneider replies then check on your evidence first whether it's still alive or dead, and he means Axel. And on the other side Fujinari says I found information about the secret Hondun program, but the problem is to access it I need the president's approval. So Liz tells him we can't get it now, so he replies fine then I will visit her myself. This is my specialty, and he manages to decrypt it, and they find written that Hondun is a secret project aimed at training assassins, and it was done under the supervision of the State Security Ministry, and in it they taught children to ignore their feelings and humanity completely to turn them into beasts. And those people resembled a legendary creature without a face from Chinese legends, called Hondun, and one day one of the trained assassins killed all the other students and the instructor and disappeared. And at the same time Abel enters to Hasho and tells her I will explain everything later. We found Skinner's location and you must go there immediately. so she takes her car, and Elena tells her we are sure Skinner is in the homeless area. But the place is very big. So Hasho replies he loves plants a lot. But that alone is not enough evidence. So Leland thinks for a while and remembers the flower he saw at Belinda's and saw it in Skinner's house when he searched it with Chris. So he tells them I feel I reached something. And Chris gets a call from the doctor, and she tells her that Axel escaped. So she asks her didn't he say anything before he escaped. So she replies he got a message apparently and it made him leave. So Chris tells Leland wait until Hasho arrives and go with her to Skinner. I will go get Axel. And at the same time Axel is on the roof of a building, and there he finds Suryo the assassin, and he comes closer to Axel and tells him angrily I can't let you live. So Axel tells him wait isn't there something you want to ask me about? So he tells him Hondun, and attacks him and throws him, and then jumps after him so Axel dodges his strike, and his injuries make him move and fight with difficulty. And Suryo attacks him and remembers when they told him you must become a beast and forget your humanity, so he feels severe pain in his head and gets very angry, and ties Axel with a rope, so Axel knees him. And then they get into a fight and both get tied with the rope, so Suryo pulls him and slams him into the iron. So Suryo feels more pain and remembers his instructor when he was dying and told him you are the masterpiece of this project. And no one will be able to control you after this, because you will forget everything, and when he snaps his fingers he makes him lose his memory. And suddenly a helicopter from the intelligence division arrives, and fires at him so he leaves Axel and runs away from it, and he has a cannon so he takes it and shoots the helicopter to bring it down, but it hits the building they are on its roof, so the whole building is destroyed and falls but Axel and Suryo escape and don't die. And at the same time Chris is on her way to Axel to save him, and Axel sits next to Suryo who is under the rubble, and before Axel dies he tells him after they pierce Hondun's face he dies. So Suryo asks him oh right I remembered. But I am not a beast anymore right? And dies. And Chris arrives after everything ended, and asks him are you okay? So he tells her almost and she replies then let's go get Skinner. And on the other side Elena talks to Abel and tells him that she was sick but now much better, but she still wonders how she recovered like this and wants to know the reason. So he tells her about Skinner when he was arrested at the station by the Army's intelligence division, because he opposed the idea of making a biological weapon and decided to leak the evidence in Europe. And back then there was fighting between the airport government and the army and during the shooting Skinner's bag was hit by a bullet so some poison came out of it, and many people died because of it, and he tells them you five were in the same place but you were the only ones who didn't die, and that's because your bodies built resistance against the poison, and Skinner at that time got the idea that made him leak the existence of the drug to the world without rising against him, and now that drug exists inside human bodies like Habana. And Leland and Hasho arrive at the homeless place and meet Gil Axel's friend so he can show them the location. So Leland tells him I have an idea. When I was at Skinner's house and Belinda's I found a very rare flower, and he shows Hasho a picture of the flower he means, so he immediately knows its location in the homeless area, and tells them come with me, and on the way he tells them when Skinner came here the first time he had a pot of plants in his hand, and his sight was weak. And at the same time Axel and Chris arrive, and there the policeman who met him when he was escaping prison sees him, so he points his gun at him, and before Chris takes out her weapon, Axel replies and tells him there is no time for this talk. Skinner is inside and we are coming to take the cure from him. Search with us too. Humanity's fate is in your hands. So he leaves them and goes to search and Axel laughs slyly. And at the same time Douglas and Elena arrive, and suddenly Douglas remembers when he was asking the homeless about Skinner and there was a man beside him disguised but with the same hair as Skinner. On the other side Hasho and Leland arrive, and Hasho comes closer to Skinner and points her gun at him, and Skinner recognizes her immediately from her voice and tells her I wish to see you but my eyes lost sight. So she asks him why didn't you take Habana's cure to save your eyes? Are you intending to take responsibility and kill yourself? Surely one person's life compared to all humanity is not logical? So Skinner tells her you are right I lost the game and as I promised I will give you the cure recipe, and he takes out a paper and writes it and gives it to her. So she asks him why did you disappear suddenly without saying anything? So he tells her because I couldn't take you with me. So she replies but I wanted to come with you. So he tells her at that time my heart was dead, and remembers and tells her the day he was traveling to Europe to leak the army's biological weapon issue, and there he met a child and joked with him, and then the army attacked and the government intervened and blew up his bag and the poison came out of it, and when he woke up he found the small child dead in front of him, and he tells her at that time I doubted the value of humanity and that they deserve to live, and maybe I didn't want you to see that side of me. So she comforts him and tells him no you are wrong. You will always remain in my eyes the Skinner I know. And Axel comes closer to him and tells him I will ask you a question. So Skinner recognizes from his voice that he is the person who spoke in the camera that was in Belinda's house, and Axel asks him are you happy we found you or were you wishing all humanity would die? so Skinner replies with a question, how do you see this world? So Axel replies, although it is a crazy world but I will never abandon it, and Hasho trembles and cries, and suddenly they hear the police approaching, so all of them point their weapons at Hasho, and Axel tells her they will kill us because we knew too much secret information, right? And Elena tells her Leland told us everything. So she replies, yes, these are the orders we received. And Abel enters and tells them, but the president issued orders a while ago, and he unlocks the bracelets in all their hands, and continues, you Lazarus members fought bravely and put yourselves in danger to reach Skinner, and also prevented the army from making biological weapons, and for that you will get your freedom and all your criminal records will be erased. So they all calm down and lower their weapons, and Abel continues, and here I have a suggestion. It would be very unfortunate if this team dissolves, and the world is already full of unresolved cases, and he asks them, what do you think about joining Lazarus and helping us solve them?